Hello, my fantastic MFA 507 students. This is Module 7. Woo! And this one is a springboard that will help us get to our final project. Um, I sometimes, when I tackle a new project, I can get a little overwhelmed and intimidated and like, what's going on here? So I have to break it down into bite-sized steps so I can kind of digest it. And that's what we're going to do. And by the time we're done with this video, hopefully you'll feel like, okay, because when I first reviewed this module, I'm like, what in the world is going on? And then once I kind of digested it, I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. I just needed to kind of process it and figure out what's going on. So I'm here to help you with that. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So Module 7, clarifying craft strategies. Okay, so in this module, we're going to describe an author's use of craft elements. That's kind of the goal. And we're going to start working on our writer's toolkit. Our writer's toolkit is our final project. And so we're going to do like a first draft of that to get us kind of going up and running. And then we're also going to develop strategies of incorporating craft elements for your future work. Again, these are kind of the goals. So we're going to review the sources, and then we'll talk about the deliverables and submit a draft of your toolkit. What's the toolkit? How do I do this? It's going to be okay. I'll walk you through it. It's going to be okay. All right, hang in there. So let's go ahead and move on. Alrighty. Okay, so for the module overview, again, go ahead and just read this at your own leisure. But I think what's something we're going to talk about in the discussion, I don't think I know what we're going to talk about in the discussion, is really how we are aware of our own strengths as writers. And there's things that we want to work on. Okay, and also the fact that as we are readers, and now that we're learning how to write better, how does that impact our way that we read things? That would be part of the discussion, which is kind of fun. And then we get to develop the toolkit. Now, again, it says it will take a bit of mental muscle, but do not worry. Okay. Well, again, this is just kind of working on the first draft of this, and don't want you to be intimidated because, again, I'm going to break it down. So, again, just going to kind of read through this. But again, I'm going to break down the deliverables and how to do it and how it can best help you out. Okay, let's go ahead and get to this. The readings and resources. Again, I made sure all these links are working. You can use these as you feel need. They all are excellent things. The Read Like a Writer especially will help for the discussion board that you're going to be going through, and I would recommend that one. All right, so there's that. Okay, before I get started, I will post another video. And then that will include a short non-graded lesson that we can put in the general discussion board. It'll be directly related to the toolkit. So if you're kind of struggling with the toolkit, the other video that I'm going to post in the announcements will kind of give you a little more extra help with trying to wrap your head around that. So we'll kind of introduce it here, and I'll explain it the best I can in this video, but I'll create another video with the short little exercise that you can do to help you with working on your toolkit. So there's that for help. Yay. Okay. Here we go. First, the discussion board. Woohoo. I love this. I love this idea. Okay. In this discussion, you will describe how writing fiction could change the way that you read fiction. The answer is absolutely. Absolutely it will. My first career was working in television, and I learned all the tricks and angles and all those kind of different things. I was a television director. I worked in newscasts, but to this day, I have a hard time watching really poorly produced newscasts because I can just tear them apart. And as I've studied in depth about how to become a better writer, it is hard for me to not be distracted by poor writing. At the same time, it makes me appreciate when writing is done well. And usually it's because I don't notice it. I don't notice the fact that what the author is doing. They are doing it so smoothly, or sometimes I don't feel like I'm being manipulated. So for this one, you're going to see how clearly does a specific author use one craft strategies effectively. Again, craft strategies, what is that? Okay, so we need to kind of take a step back. So we talk about craft elements and writing elements. We did that back in Module 1. So if we go back to Module 1, boop, okay, and if we scroll down here to the readings and resources, right? So this is back in Module 1. If you scroll down here, there's two links, one for craft elements and one for writing elements. So if we click on craft elements, we get this, and it talks about all the different craft elements. So these are some craft elements that we can use and that we can be talking about, and we'll be needing the same form or this stuff for our toolkit. So make sure you understand where to find that. Again, that's found in Module 1 under the Readings and Resources. the craft element guide, and that breaks down. There's a whole list of different craft elements. Look at all these craft elements. Oh, fantastic. Woohoo! Okay, going back to this. So basically, you're going to go ahead and just have a discussion. As you've been reading different things, how has that helped you? Do you recognize that when you're writing? Would you have looked at it differently if you were only a reader? Sometimes do you turn off the writer part of your brain just to enjoy? Are you able to do that? Okay. In what other ways has being a writer changed the way that you read books? Again, this is just a personal way that you're kind of sharing this. So this is a fun kind of thing just to recognize that as we learn more about the crafts and become better writers, it is going to influence the way that we read. So there is that. So that's kind of a fun one. All right. Now the toolkit. Yay. Okay. Now, at first I was kind of like, what's going on here? Now, so the toolkit here is really an excellent. It's actually it's a great assignment in the fact that it's going to really help down the road. And it does take a little bit of effort, but not. It's kind of been stuff we've been doing already. So let's go ahead and click at the rubric right here. Where's the rubric? If I click on this, where have I got it? I already posted it. There it is. Okay. So for the final draft for our final project, we're going to have a complete toolkit. This is like our first draft of the toolkit. Okay, you're like, what is even the toolkit? What is that? What is it? Basically, it's a matter of our toolkit's going to consist of the craft elements that we want to be able to use when we are writing. So again, if compare it to doing any kind of construction work, if I need a hammer, I reach into my toolbox and I pull out a hammer. If I need a screwdriver, I can pull out a screwdriver. Whatever I need at the time when I'm writing, I need to be able to pull into my toolkit. And again, well, what craft elements, what tools are we talking about? Well, again, we're talking about this stuff that's on the list here. Ooh, I need to pull out dialogue. I need to focus on dialogue. Ooh, I need to deal with foreshadowing. That's one of my tools for my toolkit. Ooh, I need to work on pacing. So again, these are tools that we put in our own personal toolkits that when we're writing, we pull them out to use them to make ourselves better writers. Okay, so when we look at this assignment, what are we supposed to do? Well, first thing you're going to do is identify a variety, 4 to 6 craft elements to use in future writing. Okay, so the first thing I would do if I were you would be to go to this craft element guide and pick 4 to 6 of these that you want to be, the things that you want to be able to use in your own writing. These things are that you could be already fairly good at and want to get better at, things which you really struggle, things whatever. We got pick 4 to 6 of those. Okay, boom, there's the first step. And then, so you just kind of make a list, and then you pick one and articulate how you might personally use each craft element. So again, if I were you, I would say, okay, let's say I want to do point of view, okay, and I really want to use. I'm really digging now, as I've kind of been doing some reading. I really dig in first-person point of view, and that's a tool I want to have a tool in my toolkit. So what I would do is, in my paper, I would say, okay, the first craft element I would do is point of view. And then articulate how you might use this craft element. Well, for a point of view, I would want to use first person. And then you'd explain why. Maybe a paragraph, just for that. Just okay, this is the reason why I want to do this. And then the fun part: integrate example of craft elements and samples of your own writing. Now, this could be stuff you create from scratch for this assignment, or it could be stuff that you've already been working on. A lot of us have works in process. What is that? Works in progress, yeah. So basically, you find something that you've already written and said, okay, well, here's an example of using first person, okay? Or I haven't really used first person, so I'm going to write something in first person. Maybe just, again, about a paragraph, okay? So then I would identify a theme, a craft element, then use a paragraph of why I want to use that or how it could be used, and then find like a paragraph of my own writing that it just says, this is how I'm trying to do it. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because, again, we're working on this, okay? This can just show an example of, hey, this is kind of where I am right now. And then I would move on to the next craft element. So I've done one on point of view, where, again, point of view, I've articulated how long it's going to, how I'm going to use it, and then give a short little sample, okay? And then I would go, okay, well, what other craft elements would I want to use? Let's see. Oh, I really struggle with setting, so I want to do some setting stuff. So now we want a setting, and then I would say setting, and then I would explain that and do this. Okay, so anyway, that is the point of the assignment, and that's how I do it. It says 2 to 3 pages. You can do it as a visual submission. Keep in mind that the final draft has to be in written form, and you can use stuff from this first draft in your final draft. So maybe, perhaps, do it, in the written form would be the better way to do it. Again, I'll have another video that kind of helps with this whole concept, so watch that. Look for that in the announcements. All right. Thanks.